Okay, hi and welcome back to Wristwatch Adventures with affordable watches with me, Ray. So today I've been having some tremendous fun wearing the Casio DBC-611 Databank as my secondary watch to mess around with. I've been wearing my Citizen BN0220 ProMaster dive watch as well. So the Databank watch, I've wanted one of these for a long time and I've been having great fun with this. It's of course a long time since the heyday of the calculator watch, when it was impressive to have a miniaturized calculator on your watch that had the ability to store a few phone numbers. I remember being insanely jealous of the kids who could afford to have one of these, checking these out on the playground. And back then it was watches, I can't remember which one that somebody had, but it's likely to have been the DBC-600 Databank with the alphanumeric keyboard, or it might well have been the CFX 400 scientific calculator watch. They both have the same case as their modern equivalent, the DBC-611. And this one, I think it's great, but you know, it's a shadow really of what these once used to be. Nevertheless, as a talking point, as a curiosity, as something to fiddle around with and understand the idiosyncrasies of, a bit like a Rubik's Cube or something like that, these are great. I love the design of it. It's absolutely fantastic. So today I want to have a bit of a deep dive on the numerous features here, and as I say, the idiosyncrasies of being able to use the little keypad there to operate this. Let's flip the camera and check it out. Right, let's take a proper close look then at the DBC-611. If you're enjoying this video thus far, please do consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out in terms of making more free and independent content for you. This is the first thing that really struck me when I got this, was just how diminutive this actually is. Of course, the last time I handled one of these, I was a child. One of my classmates had one of these. We must have been about 8 or 9 years old, and it seemed huge because it seemed to go right round his wrist at the time, but in actual fact it's really titchy, and that took me by surprise. If I bring in something like the Casio A168, itself a pretty small watch, it looks very small on my 7¼ inch wrist. As you can see, this is really no bigger, just a little longer lug to lug here. In terms of the dimensions then, 46.5 lug to lug, only 33, a shade over 33 across, and around about 9 mil thick at its thickest point, and of course the keypad portion here considerably slimmer in fact. The case back here held in with 4 screws, the module 3228 bulges out here somewhat. Now I've already found out that this is really not water resistant at all. Just splashing it with a little bit of water when I was washing the car earlier meant I got a bit of the dreaded mist under the screen, just very temporarily. So, you know, keep it away from water. Don't do anything. Don't do the washing up. Don't put it in the shower. Nothing. Okay. You know that this is really not a durable watch, I'm afraid to say. Okay, let's look a bit further at the design then. I mean, of course, this touch keypad here, this keypad really screams 1980s to me. It actually puts me in mind of a Speak and Spell, if you know what one of those is. Really takes me back. Now you'd think this would be impossible to use, but actually you can feel the individual buttons underneath this smooth keypad pretty well. The fonts and the colours, orange and a slight bluish hue to the forward and reverse buttons here, in keeping with the overall design. The integrated bracelet here tapers nicely, and I really like the way the links here kind of catch and play with the light here. It is one of Casio's folded link tinny bracelets, but this one seems to be finished to a slightly higher standard than some that I have experienced. a little better actually than the Casio A168 that I'm comparing it with. This is a little bit more expensive. So you can find these in the UK currently for between 60 to 80 pounds UK sterling. Not as cheap as they used to be. They used to be available a lot cheaper. The light on this is just an incandescent bulb on one side, orange in hue. It's not awful. It's not as bad as the F91W, but it's only passable. That's all. Nothing fabulous about it. Okay, so let's get into the functions now a little bit more. Right, so as is typical with Casios, we hold the adjust button here to enter the adjustment mode. Now, in terms of the main display here, we've got counting seconds, day, date, month, and year. And in here, I've gone into the time setting mode. Now, if you want to set the time here, what you in fact have to do is you have to use the keypad to set the time here. As you see, you can scroll through, as is typical with the bottom left-hand button on Casios here. On this part here is indicating the language. There are 16, I think, languages that you can set this to. The top right here of the display portion here indicates if the hourly signal is on, if you have any alarms on. There are 5 alarms. And if you have the auto backlight function on, and how long you've got the light set to last for. So I've got it set to 3 seconds here. Hopefully you can see. Right, I'm going to come out of that now. If I click the mode button when I'm out of the setting function, then it takes me to the database. Now, if you want to get a new database entry function here, if you want to store a phone number in the Databank function, you click the bottom right button here. Now you hold the adjust to be able to add an entry. Use the forward and reverse buttons to be able to add letters like someone's name. And then if you keep going past those letters, I think you can do up to 8. It will take you to the numbers. Then you enter the numbers in using the keypad. To store a number, hold the adjust there, and now it's in there, and you can scroll back and forth between your entries. Okay, so that's the Databank function. Calculator, pretty self-explanatory. Put some numbers in, choose an operation, complete the calculation. The space button here will clear it. No fancy scientific functions or anything like that. Casio did make scientific calculator versions in the 80s. I'm pretty sure actually that was the one that my friend from primary school had, in fact. Imagine how cool that would be if we could still have that now. Like I said, this is a bit of a shadow of some of those more complicated ones from the 80s, I feel. This is more of a general purpose one. So there we have the calculator function. There we go. We do also have alarms, 5 alarms settable here using the adjust. And those, stopwatch, yes, mustn't forget stopwatch, of course. We set that going there. And there we go, okay. So there we are. Those are the functions there on it. So I think, as I said, this really, it's quite ridiculous to have one of these in the days of iPhones and Apple Watches. Of course, really no need of an ancient digital watch that can hold 25 phone numbers and as a calculator. But it's a fantastic period piece, a real blast from the past, and so much fun to play around with. Just figuring out how to use the functions is really engrossing, and it's one of those watches that you wear that you get a lot of comments. You'll either get, oh, I remember those, or what on earth is that? I work with kids in my day job, and one of them asked me, what's that? And I said, oh, it's a medieval smartwatch. And of course they looked at me like I was crazy, but I thought it was funny. I'm sure I merely came across as just very old and very confusing. Anyway, overall, I've fulfilled a childhood desire to get my hands on one of these, and it will be going nowhere. It will very much be staying in my collection. Probably won't get a great deal of wrist time as a primary watch, but a great toy to play with. Superb fun. Okay, so thank you for watching to the end. I hope you've enjoyed this run through. Like I say, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon at Wristwatch Adventures. Thanks and bye for now.